So you always hear me talk about following your heart, listening to your heart and following your heart. So somebody asked me a real good question yesterday on Facebook. He says, Elliot, how do I know which of the voices in my head, because we all have conversations in our heads, which of these voices is my heart? How do I know when I'm following my heart and not following something else? So to answer that, the very first thing I want to bring to your awareness is you've got 3 brains in your body. Of course, this is my rendition of it. You've got your head brain, heart brain, and you've got your balls brain, right? And if you look at the brain itself, it's actually set up in 3 different parts. You've got 3 different parts to your brain. You've got your neocortex, cortex, and medulla. And they sort of correlate with the head brain, the heart, and the balls. For today's purposes, we're going to talk about the head brain versus the heart. When are you following your heart and when are you following your head? Or when are you following the ego or following love? Okay, very strong distinction that needs to be recognized before you make a big decision in your life. So, very first thing you got to recognize is that the part of your conversation in your head that is rational, logical, mathematical, that makes sense, that's factual, that is based on what other people have told you, historical, that is your head brain. That is your head brain giving you all of the evidence, all of the concrete support for the decision you're about to make. 2 + 2 = 4. It's a no-brainer, right? That's what they call a no-brainer. It's very obvious. The part of that conversation that's completely irrational, completely illogical, makes absolutely no sense. 2 + 2 = 17 or 0, right? That part of the conversation that's also tied to the emotion of what you're about to choose. Man, this feels right, but on paper, it looks stupid. On paper, it doesn't make any sense. It's not factual, it's not mathematical, but it feels right. That is your heart. And in the same way that you have to fall in love, heart's associated with love, you've got to fall into that decision. Nobody rationally chooses, makes a concrete, evidence-supported choice to fall in love. That's why they call this shit falling. You have to let go and completely fall into that situation. Well, the same way you've let yourself fall into love, which is scary, very important. The reason why they call it falling is because there's nothing comforting about falling. It's scary shit. You completely have let go and you're gonna fall on your back or on your face, right? Why do you think they say fall in love? The same way that you give up the rational explanation and the need for mathematical evidence to fall in love is the same way you're going to make that decision based on your heart, right? You're gonna make that decision to quit your job because there's a creative adventure that you'd like to take on, right? Travel the world, whatever it is. You know, there are things that every one of us has deep within our hearts that makes no sense whatsoever that we wanna go do. Well, you can't wait till the numbers add up to do that thing. You gotta fall, just like you would in love, fall into your heart's calling. So you get that? The point is, you're following your heart when you're scared. That's when you know you're following your heart. Now, it doesn't mean that you're gonna do the right thing. It doesn't mean that your heart is gonna send you down a path that's cozy. In fact, most of the time, it's gonna send you down a path that's dangerous. And that's why you're scared, because the math doesn't add up. But if you're looking for a distinction, you wanna know the difference, the choice that's scarier is probably your heart talking.
Elliot's sick. What?